let's do the intro.
Yeah,
And
good idea for once.
yeah, we didn't do it last time. Let me take a sip of Dr. Pepper. It's the cream soda Dr. Pepper.
See, as much as I like when they make those variations, I still don't know if I like. Just make a new soda, you just
We
label
did.
slapping Dr. Pepper on things. It's like, well, this is this version of, it's like there used to be just Mountain Dew, and you knew when you ordered a Mountain Dew, you got a Mountain Dew. Now it's like, well, if you go to Taco Bell, they've got 15 different versions of Mountain Dew. And it's like, well, then at that point, it's not Mountain Dew. It's just, that's the brand, and it's those other things are the flavor. And it's not Mountain Dew anymore, really. But that's me sitting on my porch, rocking back and forth, complaining
Grumpy old man.
You're listening to, and this is why I love comics.
Andy, Mike and Andy. I say, what is going on here?
And welcome to another episode of And This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we're back again to talk to you. This time around, we've come back to our regularly scheduled program where we are talking about, we're reading through the entire run of the New Teen Titans, the 1980 series by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. We are on the second episode of that. We're going to run through issues 7 through 12, which was good because it kind of ends that storyline.
Yeah, worked out perfect.
12. And if this is your first episode, welcome. We are grumpy old guys talking about Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper and and Game Found's DC United. We're still talking about that. 2 days left. We're getting excited about it. Mike more than me because they don't have a Legion expansion yet, so I'm safe for now, I think.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. The last 2 episodes, we talked about Big Bang Comics, and that was a lot of fun. We got a lot of good responses on that. Go check them out again on indieplanet.com. The Olympics are going on. I don't see any mimes.
Yeah, that's their greatest champions in France there. The whole legion of mimes that they had.
Yes.
Maybe they're all stuck in those glass boxes and just cannot. Those invisible boxes, they just cannot make it. So, they're still fighting the wind.
Right.
Yeah,
we can't hear their screams, so...
No, stuck in that elevator or the escalator that's going up or down behind the table.
Well, today marked the first day of my son number 1 and son number 2's yearly tradition of showing pigs at the fair.
Oh.
For 4-H. Pig showing is at a prompt 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's about 20 minutes away. So I grabbed the little children, my 2 youngest, because my wife and middle child had something to do for his school. So I snagged the little ones, and actually it was pretty easy today. They wanted to go see the animals, and we drove out there to the Kent County Fairgrounds.
Oh, okay.
And they've shown pigs since they were wee lads, so this is normal for them. I got to see them, hang out with them. I got to touch pigs' rumps, and...
The inappropriate. They had to send somebody over to kind of sort you out.
Excuse me, sir. We've had enough of this showing.
Yeah.
There's women and children around.
Yeah, pat once, that's okay. Pat twice, we start to say, but dude, you were way over the limit.
Yes. And
squeal like a pig. Now, with that, because of your kids being in the program, do you get to go in for free, or do you have to still pay the fees and everything else?
Well, I mean, it's parking fee is the only fee, and we got there so early that there was nobody at the front taking.
They're lost.
So I got to drive right in. I'm like, yay! Nobody's here. I'm not gonna sit around and wait for them for an hour. So we got in. It's usually like $10 to park for the whole day, and we stayed for like 5 hours. We had to wait till the food, vendors were starting to actually cooking things and, get a little bit of elephant ear and snow cone and stuff like that. I sometimes go 2 days, 3 days, but I think this year I'm good with one thing you did that was like super exciting and unusual.
You're reprioritizing life kind of kicked in, and over the most ridiculous thing. We've remodeled our basement and we cleared it up so that it's now got like usable space instead of just storage.
Yeah.
And it's been great, but always you're finding more things. And it's like, well, I've cut my storage space in half. So everything's got to get a little bit tighter, a little bit. You got to find homes for things or just get rid of it. You can't just like, well, one day I'll get to this project. My wife had like these yoga mats and they're like the EVA foam. And I'm like going, well, let me just roll them up really tight and then I can kind of store them like a tube. I roll it up really tight, but then I go, well, how am I going to secure this thing in this shape because it's going to want to unroll? Well, I grab a bungee cord and I find one that is like almost will work, but it's probably about like a half inch too short. The next size up that I have is like 5 inches too long. I think I can roll this up a little bit tighter. Pulling this bungee cord, it slips out of one hand and it is as tight as that thing can go. I mean, I had it maxed as far as it could possibly stretch. Snaps out of one hand, circles around the backside of this yoga mat, swings up and just clocks me so hard in the face. Legitimately, if it was like a half inch down, it would have taken out my eye. So I'm just standing, my son's looking at me like, you okay? You okay? And I'm like stunned so much that I can't even talk. I couldn't even figure out like how to even formulate a sentence or a word or anything like that. To make matters worse, it was like within an hour of some friends of ours coming out from Indianapolis to visit and stay the weekend with us. I hadn't seen these people in a while. They're coming on up. We're going to visit. And I've got the biggest like goose egg on my face. Like, hey guys. It's like, whoa, Frankenstein.
You look different.
Yeah. Is that your normal Quasimodo look?
Was that always there, or did you use makeup?
Yeah. Yep. It was just, my unicorn ancestry finally decided to show up.
Do you still have the mark now? Like that was...
Yeah, that was Friday. Like I put ice packs on it. My wife's got like these essential oils. It's reduced. I mean, there's still like where it cut the skin and such. That it was not as bad because I was thinking like I'm going to go to work on Monday and I'm going to have this thing because I could feel it like it was starting to close up my eye and it's like this is not good. And my whole like livelihood is based off of me being able to spot things.
Off my look.
Oh yeah, my face. Yeah, I got it insured. Millions of dollars with Lloyd's of London.
I'm the same thing with my voice. With the podcast.
Yeah. What was the Velvet Fog, the Mel Torme? But yeah, they did. It really kind of made me look at things like, yeah, I probably shouldn't just things as lightly as I do, and I should be a little bit more like, dang, what would happen if I just lost an eye by, misadventures like that?
Little reality check.
Yeah, I got the basement squared for the most part. Haven't hung a lot of the stuff. One thing that is something that it had meaning is that there was a painting in the basement where we'd play the games and such. There's that really long painting that was they were right at the length of the pool table. That painting, my mom, when they redid the basement on their house, they just took it down. I think I could use it because our house had some of those colors in it. Unfortunately, I was never able to find a good spot for it. But now that I've got a basement of my own, it's going back up.
A little con nearby in Grand Rapids, and there's dollar boxes there, and I picked up John Byrne New God, almost the entire run for $1 a piece, and that was pretty cool. I'd be curious to see what you think of that if we read those again, since we love the New Gods, since a lot of what we read for DC just happens to have the New Gods in it.
Yeah, that Cosmic Odyssey. Woo!
Yeah, right. We started out the podcast with that thing.
That's what got us going to begin with.
Yeah, everything we seem to read, Grant Morrison's Final Crisis was New God centric, and that dark side, he's everywhere. He was even in the Legion of Superheroes book we read.
Yeah, the Great Darkness Saga. Yeah, can't escape them. All of Kirby's creations.
That Black Panther, huh?
Yeah, not everything's a gem.
Nope. As much as I like the New Gods, I'm not sure the New Gods is a gem either. So,
The concepts are solid. That's what I always felt like. Kirby had some great concepts, but I don't know if the stories were really up to the concept.
Yeah, his ideas were Shakespearean, like, father versus son, and, all this cosmic and creation and what is evil and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not sure it ever fully formed once he started writing it. Once it was down on paper, but his ideas were, and his art, of course, is beautiful. But
I still remember, I had OMAC and the Commandy run, and reading through those is like, oof. I love the concept. The last boy on Earth, what it would be like to be last human among all these mutants, and you're the one in minority, and you're the one who's treated like an animal, and obviously, strong smackings of Planet of the Apes. And then OMAC was, that was just a bit of weirdness.
Yeah, that's all nonsense. But you know what we're talking about today?
What's that?
Not nonsense. Yeah, we're going to talk about the new Teen Titans from the 1980s, issues 7 through 12. Yeah, we just finished the Trigon version. Let me get
Potato.
This is my billionth time reading it, although I haven't read it in a while. And this is Mike's first time reading this series. Curious. I mean, we'll go through each book kind of like we did last time, but
somewhat rapid fire. But
are you starting to see a difference in 1 through 6 through 7 through 12? Did it improve? Did it not improve? It
was a mixed bag. I will say that Perez's art really started showing up in this wave. Not on every issue and not on every page. It really was like, holy crap, this is the Perez that I'm familiar with. This is the one that I remember from Crisis era.
He was really trying to find himself, or he really was starting to find himself in this second set.
Yeah, because it was like, to me, you look at the covers that he had done, and it's just acres of detail. Like, even, his puffs of clouds have layers of clouds within them. It's just, there's lines just about everywhere. That wasn't really visible in the first few issues, and especially like their facial structures. Just, there was something a little goofy, but then there was when they go, and we're kind of jumping ahead, but the latter couple of issues when they are against the Titans of Greek mythology, it all sounds like, oh, yeah, when he's drawing the rocks of, Tartarus. Oh, that's the Perez.
Issue 10, he was like, I'm on fire. This is going good.
Things are really coming along. Because there's a few where the faces just didn't quite register. Others, it was like, man, this is great. So I can see that his art, obviously, vast improvements in it. The storylines do pick up in a better way. A lot more back stories, a lot more, okay, we got you started, we got you hooked on the action. Now we can do the expositioning of some of these things and give you a little bit more backstory to these characters.
They were kind of thinking, okay, we're not getting canceled.
Yeah.
We can take our time a little bit.
Yeah, and there was those James Bond movies where the formula was that it would start off with this huge explosive action sequence, Bond doing something amazing, then it goes into the music, and then it kind of goes into the dry, it's like, oh, Moneypenny, I see that, is M ready, and then you just go on, it's just all that kind of schlocky stuff, but
oh, James.
yeah, and it just, this kind of felt like that way where like the first 6 issues were just nonstop action just to kind of get you into like, these are teenagers, but they're doing something. There's something going on, that their power levels were different than the previous wave of Teen Titans. Cause like the previous one was like, they really did emphasize them being sidekicks. And then this one, they rarely reference any connection to the other characters outside. It's like the Wally West, Kid Flash. You don't really hear, there's a couple lines, mostly throwaway to Barry Allen, but he wasn't like, I'm hanging out with Barry Allen this weekend.
They weren't sidekicks anymore. They were former sidekicks. kicks, and I think that was, this series kind of about that transition between I don't need these people anymore, and especially with the Robin and the Batman, that dynamic. They showcase that early on to try and show you that they're trying to be on their own now. They're not. It's not Batman and
Yeah.
Yeah, issue 7, Assault on Titan's Tower. We have the Fearsome Five back, which I wasn't quite ready for them to be back already, but
It's like the return of, well, it's like you weren't gone long enough to
right, you were
have
there
a
last issue.
return.
Yeah. But I do like that it kind of just kicks off. There's not even a break. They get sent home from Azarath. Like you said, you get a little backstory. Kid Flash doesn't really want to be a hero, and he feels he's been manipulated. So he runs off and
To pout.
And you get a little history about the Titan's Tower and the Fearsome Five.
Gotta ask a question. One, I do like whenever they show like diagrams of a building and so forth of like, here's all the cool stuff that's inside this building.
Yeah,
But
like Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, like here's the Wayne Foundation,
Right.
and the Baxter Building. They all had like those cross sections of like impossible rooms, or why would that be here?
Right.
These things are not necessarily representative of actual like full like 12 to 15 foot stories of a building.
Right,
But I'm looking at this thing, and it's obviously several stories tall, and it's like, I built this in secret. It's like, how do you build a tower in secret in the middle of New York? This gigantic
on an island.
tower. It's like, I didn't want them to find it yet. I don't want it to be spoiled, played off when it's revealed as to who built the tower. That it's like, I built it for you and your friends. I could build a tree house in the backyard for my kids and friends. But a multi-tier anti-gravity
$1 billion.
Oh yeah,
with T-jets and the submarine and
yeah, all of this, and it's like, I know it's comics, and trying to apply too much logic on it is just like you can't. You just kind of let it roll. But at the same point, it's like, and he made it sound like, I built this. You built this? Like,
Well,
you
just think-
have a team of people building this, or
Well, it probably was a team, but like most of the Teen Titans are rich. Like, you got Bruce Wayne's money with Robin, and Changeling's father's a zillionaire.
yeah,
And just think of the money that this person spent on Titan's Tower. He's got to be loaded. There's so much wealth in this comic. I mean, you know how that magician made the Eiffel Tower disappear?
Yeah, everybody look this way. Oh my gosh, it's gone.
So maybe that was how he made it secret.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I built it over in New Mexico somewhere in the desert, and then I just had it dropped into place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so secret that the Fearsome Five knew exactly where to go and invade the building anyway.
Yeah, they knew more about it than the people who quote unquote live there.
The Titan's Tower was built before Titans were formed, and yet there's a room for Cyborg and Starfire and Wonder Girl, and like they all have their own rooms anyway, and this perfect number of rooms. Builder knew that there'd only be this many members of the group, but the Fearsome Five come in, and for some reason they think it's a good idea to get Simon back. In this issue, this first one here, you see Raven. I think Marv Wolfman said, okay, we got to show Raven powers, and she heals like Cyborg, she heals Robin, within 3 seconds of each other.
Yeah,
she's the healer of the group. That's her role. She's the empath. She's the Donna. No, she's the what's the Star Trek Troy?
Oh, Deanna Troy.
Thanks, Donna Troy. Hey, is that a Donna Troy? Deanna Troy?
Yeah, someone was a fan.
And we do learn who built the tower.
And it was like Cyborg's old man put it all together, feeling remorse for having Cyborg, his own wife, succumb to a interdimensional being through I just happened to hit a button.
They do end up bringing back Simon for some strange reason. But they do defeat the Fearsome Five. Did enjoy this issue. Flowed a lot better. Find out that Cyborg's father, that he's dying, various cancers, I think, or something.
Yeah, basically the same aliens that took out caused cancer.
Takes the tale over a couple months, inactivity where Cyborg hangs out with his dad, and then his dad passes on.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember how that issue ended, so it was interesting to reread it, thinking, oh, that's what happened to his dad, and that's why we didn't see him later on. I didn't remember him dying so early on. And issue 8 was kind of like a new tradition in the Titans, kind of like how the X-Men did the baseball games once in a while. Issue 8 was a day in the life. Kind of see just Secret Identity stuff, and there's a little drama and some plot movement, but it's more like here's a pause between crises. I enjoy that. I think that it makes the characters more memorable, and you're getting that feeling where this isn't the typical DC book. They're trying to do something a little different here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I wasn't reading it as they were coming out or of the time, so I'm kind of just binging these things. So it did feel like, there was a slight change of pace, that they had already introduced towards the end of that previous issue. Cyborg's rougher, the rough exterior kind of goes away when he realizes his dad and the hatred he had for it was all misplaced. Kid Flash is trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. And it was like, well, it works out because it gave every character more than just, okay, time to beat him up, moving on to the next action sequence. There was some action in this one. There was a terrorist group. It was just, like I said, a welcome reprieve from a lot of what was going on.
Yeah, we learned that Wonder Girl Donna Troy is a photographer, famous one at that, or at least a successful one. Of course she is, right? This is no Peter Parker where they struggle. These guys have money. DC, the characters with money. Is that their new slogan?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they're Titans. Titans of industry.
Right. Did you see the old logo is back?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on it. I've not liked any logos since that particular one.
Yeah, I haven't either.
And the last one was as close as they could probably get legally to the original Milton Glaser design, but because they went from the toothpaste one with the star swooping around the letters DC, then they had the sliced bologna one, then they came up with this other one that was like, it's kind of close, but it was too clunky from a design point of view. And what's sad is that there's so much product out there with all the different logos, and it's like, oh, I know exactly when that came out, because it's like you don't even have to look at the date stamp or anything. It's like, oh, that's because it's got the toothpaste logo that they had.
Yeah, it is interesting that they came out with it now. Like, what prompted a remodel of that symbol?
Yeah, James Gunn's movies,
and that's what caused it. And it's like, okay, I'm not sure that was warranted, but I do like the old-fashionedness of it. But it doesn't bring me back, because although the icon is there, the DC that old man me isn't there, and the price point is not there.
Yeah, everything that was associated of that time just is not, definitely not there anymore.
Yeah, you're just putting makeup over a problem,
and it becomes not disingenuous, but it definitely kind of seems incongruous to the modern aesthetic that they're trying to play up in the current comics. Although I guess, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier about the Mark Waid stuff, it's like, oh, yeah, he's trying to throw it back to the old Silver and Bronze Age feel of the comics. So maybe that's when that logo was in use.
Yeah, and Mark Waid's doing that, and then suddenly DC's creating another new universe and starting over with a bunch of, I'm not sure what they called it. I'm trying to remember now, but yeah, they have a new... Instead of All-Star, they have yet a new versions of each hero.
Like Extreme Power or something like that?
Yeah. Well, Absolute Power. And then that goes into a side universe where they're starting over again. And,
geez.
So there'll be two continuities going, which, again, if you remember way back when, that was my idea, is to have multiple continuities and people will go to where they want to go, but they're starting over and all the art kind of looks like bleep. I don't know, just the redesigns. Didn't you do this in Earth 1? Like, didn't you have a line called Earth 1? Didn't you have a line called All-Star where it was all, you're just rehashing the same problems rather than just creating your main universe. Mark Waid is doing it right. They should just give him the line. Not that he does everything right, but he's at least bringing it back to where it should have been. But I don't know. We'll see. I can't judge it until it's out again.
Yeah. Technically, you can judge just about anything you want. It's just a matter of do you want to suffer the repercussions of being, letting people know your judgments on it.
New Teen Titans, Starfire interrupts the modeling gig, and of course is then wanted to be as a model because she's designed as this hot alien Mediterranean skinned, beauty, which is what I liked about her back then. That's a future story. You meet Terry Long. Like, this is the first introduction of Terry, right? I think
I've never seen the character before, which actually led to one of my other questions that I had on my list. Do these characters appear in any other book other than the Titans? I know Robin had to. That was kind of an obligatory thing to have him show up in a Batman title as well. Did Wonder Girl show up in any other book where this character could have be seen, or did Kid Flash show up in The Flash so that his parents and all these other characters were part of it? Or is this purely something that they did to, in this just the Titans book? Because it even goes in there and says like that Robin was heading back to the Big Top Circus. And I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah, he had his Batman stories. I'm sure he was still in that. Other than Kid Flash making an occasional appearance in The Flash, everything was in this book. This is the first appearance of Terry Long, kind of I always found him to be an odd character, and I kept waiting for this bombshell storyline with him. And he does make frequent appearances, like he's a long-term character in this book, at least through a decade. You get used to him, I think, maybe. I don't know. Now that I'm rereading it, I'm even more freaked out. Like, he looks like he's 50 dating. I think maybe it was the creep factor of this really old guy dating this 18-year-old girl, but I mean, he's not. I mean, but it just, I think George, maybe it's the beard. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they tried to play it off as he was 29. And I did really like the introduction of this second volume, and it does kind of call that out. And that was something that kind of helped assuage it for me. It said that, he was 29, divorcee, Wonder Girl, having seen as much as she has and, being part of the Amazon group, wouldn't be able to really have a relationship with anybody outside of, like, need a more mature man to, so that it wasn't like she was just this, the dude's a damsel in distress kind of a syndrome of like, oh no, I can't handle myself and I need you around and all this stuff. It's like, no, she just needed somebody that was a little bit more up to the challenge of Wonder Girl.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the fact that he was a normal is kind of cool. Like, he wasn't a hero. He never was a hero. Wasn't related to anybody heroes. He was just someone who they met. I like that version. Don't get me wrong. I love little love triangles, soap opera stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
religion of superheroes.
Right. But I did like that she was desperately needed a backstory and things to help her fill out some issues later on. Terry helps with that. It's just nice sometimes to have a normal person in your life, right?
Yep. Yeah, it just helps, again, bring about a more rounded characters that you can actually have, more than just, if I'm not fighting a villain, I have no purpose in this issue. Yeah, it's like, well, there's, other things going on, other things happening, and makes them feel a little bit like these are inhabited worlds and not just punch 'em ups.
And then, like you said, the little action, Raven fights some revolutionaries, finds out what happens when she overextends her soul self out of her body, because apparently she only had, 10 minutes?
Yeah, because it was like a countdown.
Puppeteer is shown, foreshadowing, and you get some foreshadowing with Changeling, with his dad's company. Now, at this point, did you know who his dad was?
Not a clue.
Yeah.
Even after getting to the point where they reveal who he is, still don't know.
Yeah, you never see this association with the Doom Patrol until the issue comes out. It's like, that's who his dad is, and that's who his stepmom is, which I kind of liked. It kind of snuck up on you there.
Yeah.
Parental issues is the name of the game on this new Teen Titans series.
Yeah.
In this issue, a lot of backstory with Cyborg. Again, he's dealing with the death of his dad. You meet people from his neighborhood, someone he dated and, hasn't seen him since the change. All this stuff comes back later in different issues. He meets Sarah, who is a teacher for special ed, prosthetics, and a bunch of kids with prosthetics, and he becomes aware that he can do good around the city, helping people feel normal again. And I like this issue a lot. It's just probably the Raven stuff I was the least interested in, because we had just come from 6 issues of Who's Raven and Kurt Swan monsters and give it a rest. There's some Raven stuff, some Wally West stuff as well, about his struggle and what he wants to be with his life. And I found it interesting that his parents knew his powers. I didn't remember that. Later on, when Mike Baron takes over the Flash series after Crisis, and it's Wally West, do remember his parents. His dad looks entirely different.
Yeah, this is a Wally Beaver, and there's like Leave It to Beaver style.
And his mom looks similar to what she did in this series. As more of a character in that series. And I think they're divorced. He's run off. Not what I pictured in this story at all.
But it was a good overall to kind of give you a sense of these characters having lives of their own.
Yeah, and, we were talking about the art, and the details starting to come together. But really, his panel work, like, he is a cut above a lot of people. Obviously, I think that a lot. But all the panels and what he puts in it, and where his flow wasn't necessarily in the first 6 issues from panel to panel, it wasn't there. Like it cut around a little bit. In this set, I think he got his panel work and his flow, Marv and him, just maybe clicked better.
I figured out how to pace out a page.
Right, and just maybe Mr. Wolfman just let Perez be Perez and kind of set it up a little more to where he was comfortable, because it just seemed to flow much, much better, and the pages were wonderfully laid out. And the dialogue then flowed a little better. I really liked. I think issue 8 really cemented it for me. Now I still hadn't started collecting in issue 8. Mine was actually the last issue. We're going to talk about issue 12. That was my first issue. Yeah, a lot of foreshadowing involved. I mean, that just makes me think, okay, they had some stuff planned out finally and knew where they were going. And this issue was laid out a lot of groundwork for it. So a lot of good stuff on here. I was excited. I know I'm talking a lot here, but I was excited just to hit these issues. I'd probably only read them once, and prior to my reading it monthly, and I was just super excited to hit these again and see where did I go from, okay, this is a good series, to, oh wow, this is a great series. I'm really sure it was that issue 8 that I went, yes, okay, this is what I remember. This was great. Yeah, I couldn't wait to talk about it. Clearly, I nonstop.
Yeah, this has been and always has been your series. I remember you were getting both the Baxter editions and the newsstand ones,
and even like, we're not done with this episode yet, but I can't wait to talk about the next one with the Doom Patrol, and this kicks into high gear, and we get into the next group of them, which is a totally different kind of feel to the series. There's a series that morphs along the way. It's certainly this one, so I'm excited to see what you think. Even if you hate it, like I want to know where they went, where you suddenly went. I'm done with this thing. I'm washing my hands of this series.
Yeah, so far I've enjoyed it. There's still a ton of questions. Some of them they did eventually come around to answering. Yeah, like I said, issue 8 was a good one. Issue 9 kind of picks up pretty much right where issue 8 left off with the puppeteer, which apparently was an old Green Lantern villain. I don't know how often it was used with the Green Lantern, but apparently it showed up in the very first Gil Kane, Hal Jordan issue.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all, but I do remember him being a villain for Green Lantern, but I didn't realize way back in GL #1.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of like when they kind of throw some of these history characters in there. Now, I do have a question about comic book logic, okay? Changeling can turn himself into any animal, but it's green, and his skin is perpetually green. But when he's in the animal form, it is purely the animal. But then when he transforms back into his human form, completely clothed in whatever current outfit he was wearing when he transformed. So like the issue 9 opens with him basically like getting out of a limousine, turning into a goose so he can fly out of the tower, not a limousine, but a sports car, transforming into like a goose looking thing. And then, so he flies out the sunroof, and then in mid-flight transforms back. And then not only does he transform back, he's back to being fully clothed in regular colored clothing. If he transforms and you're like, well, he absorbs the clothing, or anytime he changes, it's always all green. How does that work?
Well, there's a little short story that you don't get to see where he visits the Baxter building.
Unstable molecule.
Unstable molecule.
Yeah. And it's like,
that's the correct.
Like if he transforms into like an ostrich later on or a snake down the road, clearly it's reflective of the animal being green because he's green top to bottom, but his clothes are not.
I'll say.
But then it was like,
the carpet matches the drapes, right?
Oh yeah, that's actually on display down the road when he's on Paradise Island. So let's say but it's like
more whitey tighties, right?
Yeah, pocket dimension, and then reappears when he exits.
I think you have to blame the Comic Code Authority for that.
Yeah, probably plot convenience.
Dumb ways to die. How did you die? Well, I got shot by a cannon from a toy. All these toys kill people. Does Batman have a toy man character?
I don't know if the ventriloquist would be the considered.
I know Superman does.
Yeah, well, he's got two, doesn't he? Like the Toy Man and Prankster or something like that. I can't remember.
Prankster, which I never understood with Superman. It's like I can go between molecules if I wanted to destroy every toy within the next 3 seconds, and again, plot convenience gets you a lot. We learn Questar's is the Dayton's assistant. Somebody's trying to kill all these people from Dayton Industries, which is his dad, Changeling's stepdad. We learn it's about Prometheum, Project Prometheum, which is this device that perpetually regenerates energy, and of course the world would love it if that happened. He gets Robin involved because Robin's the detective, so they check out Puppeteer's address because Puppeteer, this kind of reminded me of like a Batman animated episode, where he goes down this detective work and he used to work at this corporation, so I'll go check out the corporation. The Changeling, of course, always drops in bad jokes that are really dated, like Valerie Bertinelli. Out of anybody, it's his comments that don't cross over into current modern day.
The downside of trying to be hip to common teen vernacular is like, well, teen vernacular continues to change every 3 years, so whatever you're going to say now just doesn't work. But Robin's got some great guns on that panel that has the Valerie Bertinelli reference, but
Oh yeah,
Some really thick, muscular
Gams.
arms there, Robin.
And his legs. I mean, they're
For
huge.
a teenager. Oh, those are some
Man.
roid-esque body
Right.
parts.
Then the place blows up because there's a robot trying to kill him. Then we see that Batir is involved again with Hive. There's that dastardly organization trying to kill the Titans from issue 2. You get Raven visiting Cyborg and Special Needs with Sarah Sims, chased by a Batman doll, and then Cyborg is taken over by this explosion because he's mechanical and the puppeteer controls him. Which I kind of like that, you get to see a little Titans against each other.
Yep. Who would win?
Kid Flash gets involved. There's a big battle, and eventually, whoever Cyborg shoots also gets controlled.
The 4 of the members quickly succumb to the puppeteer.
And they start attacking Dayton Industries and where Robin and Changeling are. So there's a big old battle, which eventually Kid Flash frees himself by vibrating different.
Breaks the frequency, more or less.
Kid Flash rescues everybody else. Robin kicks Cyborg in the nuts. And apparently he has nuts. I mean, maybe that's Marv Wolfman's way of saying, yeah, he's got stuff down there. It says Vic Stone's eyes bulge. I read that wrong. Really, the only other thing is the puppeteer gets wasted by Hive. The last page shows Deathstroke having stole the Promethean plans, and he's back again.
Da, da, da. Again, it's like almost an echo of the first 6 issues. You got, the Fearsome 5 return, Hive returns, and
yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Like they just kind of repeating. This time a little slower with a little more background, but yeah, they did kind of repeat.
Yeah.
Now, where's the Justice League?
That's issue 14.
Right. Yeah.
We'll get back to that one.
Every issue, I think, George Perez got a little better.
Yeah, which is weird because, he was at Marvel for ages, so it wasn't like, this is him getting his start, but it's just like I think he was getting used to drawing these characters on the regular, and the embellisher was a little bit more standard because this Romeo Thingal is like a little bit more in keeping with Perez.
Just gelling a little bit more.
Issue 10. And it's the Terminator selling the Prometheum to the highest bidder. But there is one aspect that tell me this never appears again. So I have not read it further than these issues. So I'm like, please tell me this is not the case. So obviously he's already established that he's got a kind of, instead of Alfred, he's got wintergreen. His manservant here at the wherever lab, again, millionaires betting millionaires. He's got that, but then he throws this line in there. It's like plans for that Prometheum stuff. They want to make sure that it works and that he's going to sell it to the highest bidder. So he has some lab people that he has review the plans to make sure that everything's good. And one of the lab members is Dr. Benson Honeywell, and he has an assistant named Bleeker. And it's like, oh, please tell me these characters never return. Clearly, a tip of the hat to the Muppets with Dr. Bunsen Honeydew.
Clearly.
And Beaker, but still, even down to the fact that the guy's a short dude, bald, and no eyeballs, just glasses.
Benson Honeywell, my lab chief.
Yeah.
In my memory, they never show up again, and it's never brought up again. So
okay, that's good.
Quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure, like even I don't remember having him a lab team, and it's always a 2-man show in my memory. So his people, I don't remember them at all either. I do like how he just has screens and they have all the Titans just pictures on there,
Yep, straight on photos.
Right. And it's just he stares at them all day and just those never do anything else but show the pictures of.
Yeah, I don't know. They might just be that. They might be picture frames. They're not TV screens. They're just picture frames.
I always imagine TV screens, but yeah, you're right. They might just be pictures.
Yeah, and then it goes from there and gives a little bit of a backstory to Beast Boy / Changeling and his time with the Doom Patrol and explains that his parents died, but then he got adopted by members of the Doom Patrol. Cyborg's girlfriend gets kidnapped and is being held while other Deathstroke is taken out. Starfire basically have her pass along a message.
Yeah, I like that battle.
And just, she's this warrior woman, from an alien world, but he's been, enhanced to such a degree that he still outdoes her at every step of the way. Ultimately, though, he just kind of like, yep, I'm out. Throws a bomb at a building, and she's got to decide whether rescuing the people or going after him. And she winds up rescuing the people. They're talking about, oh, this is up for auction. You guys can take part of this, but you're going to be part of my other plan. And then to ensure that you take part of my plan, says Deathstroke, is I got your girlfriend hostage.
And that's gotta suck for her because she's only known Cyborg for like a week.
Yeah, not
what?
very
Now
long.
I'm the victim.
Yeah, I should have been a little bit more aware that this dude in complete metal body is probably going to be not a good, healthy relationship to have. And then he puts it up for auction, but they want to make sure that it demonstrates it can do its thing. So the Titans have to sacrifice themselves.
Like the Doom Patrol.
Yep, like the Doom Patrol did before, and that was kind of a cool parallel. Like, we can't do this. This is what did in the Doom Patrol. Sure enough, kaboom, big mushroom cloud, and they are done. And then the Hive does what the Hive does, and they basically double cross everybody at the table. And then Terminator does what his name is, Deathstroke the Terminator. Terminates those two Hive members, takes their money, takes the gold, walks away. The bomb goes off, and it turns out it was a fake. Spoilers. That they staged it all themselves. That the Kid Flash jumped up on to the missile as it was coming towards them. Starfire blasts the ground, make it look as if there was an explosion. And then, Cyborg sends out shockwaves using his amplifier. And then Kid Flash gets into the bomb and detonates, dismantles it for Wonder Girl to catch. And everybody from the outside looked like the explosion actually did happen.
And I mean, how much preparation that had to take just to figure that out.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all in the timing. But it shows how they came together as a team, though.
Yeah, I call BS. But, that's just a kind of cool way to do it. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, so it was kind of a nice little twist here. How did they know they were going to be awake for that?
Yeah, just times. Yeah. Then chaos ensues at the auction when the Titans have revealed themselves. They're fighting people on the inside of the auction house dome thing, which seems terribly convenient and overly built, for like 5 people to show up. And there's this huge dome with seating for like 1 million.
Well, I mean, even earlier in the story, I think this was a mistake, but they said hundreds of terrorists are coming to this spot, and then you go to the auction and it's like 6 people at a table.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the
held
rest
in
of
someone's kitchen? You didn't need the super secret auditorium out in the desert.
Video auction on that.
Oh yeah, just called up a friend. Changeling takes it on himself to go after Terminator, only to get zapped to a point where the zapping turns his heart off, but keeps his brain functioning. Like, oh, we got to figure out he's dead. And bum, bum, bum. And it's like, the empath, the one who can feel everything, says he's dead. Well, guess what? The next issue, hey, he's not dead.
He's only semi-dead.
Yeah, it's like one of those old-time like movie serials where it's like, Commander Cody, figure out what's going on. And it's like, oh, he fell off a cliff. And now... Then the next episode you see is like he didn't really fall off the cliff, he just hung onto the side, even though the previous issue previous episode you saw him actually fall off the cliff.
Yeah, I did like the battle between Deathstroke and the Changeling. I enjoyed all the animals that he would turn into and the power from George. So I thought that was well done. Clearly George could draw almost anything. I mean, the coloring helps that it's just one color.
Yeah,
I enjoyed a lot of the panel work on this more than I remembered even enjoying.
But even here, you can see a lot of that Perez, and he loves drawing that. It was just that organic little scribbly. He did it very specific to his art style.
Yeah, and then the next 2 issues, 11 and 12, place on Paradise Island. And really, the cool thing is, at the end of issue 10, you have no idea where this is gonna go. Like, there's no hints that we're gonna take them to the Paradise Island because the Purple Ray is gonna try and heal him. There's nothing. You thought, okay,
He's dead.
what? Yeah, he's dead. Or what are they gonna do? Obviously, I thought, well, he's probably not dead. Like I said, issue 12 is the first one that I bought off the stand. I think I'd read an issue or two previously from my friends, but really issue 12, I remember getting that at the local Meijer on the spinner rack. I think I was able to go back and find issue 11. Bought all the ones forward as much as I could find, missing here or there. But yeah, issue 11 and 12. If this was written today, this Return to Paradise Island would have been like 7 issues.
Oh, yeah.
And drawn out, 1 issue just of talking, and certainly not 2 issues and then done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you legitimately break the titans of mythology out of their eternal prison and put them back the very next issue.
They get out in 2 pages, they're returned in 2 pages, and there's a bunch of. I mean, it's a meaty story, but I'm amazed at how much is put in just 2 issues because there's a lot. Marv certainly was wordy. I'm not sure he was Chris Claremont wordy, but
Brian is artist.
Yeah, and just a lot to take in. And when I was reading it, I have always loved Greek myths and stuff like that, but I had no clue these characters existed in DC. I wasn't following Wonder Woman and didn't know how far in depth. This is probably my first Paradise Island story. I don't remember ever really getting into any of that stuff prior. So there's a lot of firsts in this series for me. First Kurt Swan. I enjoyed these 2 issues. I was surprised how much I remembered of these 2. They must have done a pretty good impression, lasting impression into my memory. I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but I remembered most of the story.
To me, this felt more Perez than anything else because, I mean, it's just the rocks formations, armor that all the Amazonians had, and he did the Amazonians well. They were still kind of in swimsuit garb, a lot of exposed skin, but that was always been kind of the fallback on dudes in armor, head to toe, thick plate mail. Women in armor, here's your bikini.
Right.
Like, huh?
The old video game trope where, here the girls got to look pretty, the boys, they can be fully armored. You don't even have to see their face.
Yep.
They're hunky.
But it was good to see, a lot of Greek mythology, which they basically said, like, hey, if this is going to be the Paradise Island, we might as well own it,
Yep.
And it was really very Wonder Girl centric, even though it was more about mythology than it was Wonder Girl, but she was kind of the impetus for this whole thing.
I mean, we talked about it earlier. She was due for a more important role. It was great to have her in this background, and even she was on the opposite side of the heroes for most of it, having fallen in love with Hyperion.
Kind of give her a better sense, because, I mean, you spent so much time with Raven and her backstory and her dimensions that she's been from, and this gives Wonder Girl at least similar treatment, even though it's more about the Greek myths than it is Wonder Girl necessarily or directly.
I did like, even though the book is called When Titans Clash, Marv even, wrote underneath it an overused title, perhaps. Like he knows this is, this was a title we were going to use, and everybody knew we were going to use this title. No surprise.
Yeah, but it makes sense, when they release all there's a lot of back and forths about, Hyperion, basically seducing Wonder Girl, and he breaks out the rest of the Titans, and then the Amazons are like, well, we gotta, do what we can to stop this from going down because it's going to be the end of the world.
Purple Ray, the Amazon's healing ray, that they've used over in Wonder Woman. I love how the Titans just, they just accept that they have a T-Jet. There's never any discussion about, we have a plane now and we can get across the world now, no problem.
Yeah, not just one, but they have 2.
And they put Logan into a Purple Ray, and suddenly it's not working because Hyperion is absorbing the sunlight. And like you said, he kind of uses the mythical god power to seduce Wonder Girl. And great panel work again by George, and you can just feel how she turns into a loving person towards this god. And again, Starfire shoots these solar rays and it doesn't do squat. Like, I've got all this power, but I've never been able to hurt anybody
no
with
kidding. So you establish her as like the top powerhouse of your team, but then you gotta also show how bad the villains are by saying that she can never defeat them.
It is cool, like how Marv threw in all these creatures of mythology, the ogres guarding the entrance, or the cyclops, and later on there's the Furies guarding the gates. And I was confused how the Amazons. Does it ever say how they traveled to Tartarus? Because suddenly they're just there marching, and they're suddenly fighting this huge 100 powerful armed creature of.
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering, what do they turn a corner on the island and suddenly they're stomping up to Mount Olympus? How does that work?
Yeah. I think they got the ferry out the Paradise Island and just made it really easy to cut the 5 across town or something like that. It just seems like, wow, that was easy.
You get a little history of the original Titans of myth and who they are, and Kronos and Rhea, Dream and sea gods, moon gods.
Yeah, the more base level where like the Zeus and their kind, Hermes and Ares and all those are like, they're more personifications of elements, where these guys were the personifications of like physical items, like the core elements, the base elements, like ocean, the sun, the moon, Earth itself. Not really too many abstract concepts. It's like, nope, these are what you think they are.
There's 12 Titans, and one of them disappeared during their banishment. I think that comes back later in the backstory.
Yeah, he lost his pair, his mate.
Yeah, I think that's when we see these Titans again. It's way in the future in the Baxter run, but I think that comes back.
Oh, really?
Story element, yeah. And then issue 12 is kind of the conclusion to it all. Like I said, it's the first issue that I got. I think I was just drawn to the cover.
Yeah, one side versus the other side charging straight at each other in a straight line. We're all hidden in there. Yep. I'm looking at the covers of issue 11 and the cover of issue 10, and these comics were 50 cents. And then issue 12 is like, it's got more pages and
than ever.
Yeah, more pages than ever. And it jumps up to 60 cents. I mean, outrageous dollar amounts.
All new, even in the little price bucket. Oh, it also says, see the Superman.
Yeah, see the Superman 2, the Richard Lester Superman movie. But yeah, which kind of puts it into the context of like, I forgot how old this series was. Because I remember, Superman came out in 78. Superman 2, I think it was like 81 or so. Or
81, because this book came out, number 12 came out October of 81.
Yeah, so it's got, see the Superman movie, Superman 2, and you're like, oh my gosh. I remember how old I was when that hit the theaters, and it's like, oh, yeah, I guess. It's like, I wasn't really collecting comics at the time. I knew of, and I would pick them up randomly here or there, but kind of forget, like, this is kind of going back.
Yeah, I never thought about that. I was 10 when I bought this off the rack. 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it seems like yesterday, but it's not.
Sadly, no. Quite a ways away from that, sir. Hate to break it to you.
So I was in love with George Perez at 10, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's been a long, long haul there, sir.
Athena visits, and we finally see the newer gods, the younger gods.
The Olympians.
Olympian gods, and definitely Ares was looking different than he did in the Wonder Woman ones.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, still has the horned helmet, but that's about it.
Well, maybe this is where I started to love my Greek mythos. Maybe it started it all, because I was really into Greek mythos for the next decade after this. and there's just a huge battle, and the old Titans win, and then the Amazons show up and like, hey, we're gonna fight again, and then there's a conversation spoiling this really new story. The older Titans finally decide that they must let the new generation survive and win, go back to Tartarus and make that their own home. And Wonder Girl is released from her bond of love. While this stuff was happening, Robin and Cyborg were off doing something else, which we're gonna get in the next episode. We'll see where they were during this event.
That's cool. Yeah, because the mortal man was not to set foot on Paradise Island for fear that if they did, the Amazons would lose their powers.
That must really stink to have to always guard for just a footstep on the island, and suddenly everybody loses their immortality.
Yep.
Like, I'd be so worried about that. That'd be the only thing I'd be doing.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't care. Like, if I knew everybody's on the island, if anything, man or woman, came towards it, take them out. If a dude in a wig, take them out.
Not happening on my watch.
Yeah. I just have, like, machine guns and everything poised, ready to go.
Right.
Extreme prejudice, taking anybody out.
And we see the changeling. He comes back alive. He looks a little different, and he's, I don't know about the facial expression at the bottom there. It looks kind of weird, but...
Sans clothing in that tube, so...
And he wants to live again to kill.
Dum, bum, bum.
And then the epilogue.
Yeah, these are like
with Terry.
Post-credit scenes, mid-credit scenes, end-credit scenes.
Terry and Donna hug each other and confess their love. That I wonder if she even tells him.
Yeah, that's a story for another time.
How can I compete against the god of love and heat? Oh, Terry, you're so boring. That's why I love you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like I can't handle having to be outshined by other powerful beings. I just need very basic.
You're such a normie.
Yep.
You're so boring. That's why I keep you around.
Yep. Your predictability and the fact that you're sitting on a couch reading versus like planning the destruction of all human life on the planet. It's like, there's a big difference. I know that will never be you.
How's it feel to be safe?
Yeah. You're so adequate.
You're such a mediocre person.
Don't want to dim her light by how great you shine.
So you've now read 12
full years worth of Titans in short window of time. I like it. I'm still not sold on some of the characters, and I know that they get their fair shake down the road. And some of these characters, I still feel like there's potentially too many members. Right now they're sitting at 7. Even though this last 2 issues were very Wonder Girl focused, I feel like she's probably the least used and most forgettable. Kid Flash comes in pretty quick after that, and that's where I can see like Perez.
No pun intended there.
Oh yeah, right? And then Perez and Wolfman were very much like, hey, these are our creations. We're going to focus on them, and then we'll just kind of shuffle these other old fogies.
Yeah, I never thought about that. They certainly focus on the new people, and maybe rightly so, because they have story potentials that haven't been touched. The others have probably been told to death, all their storylines and stuff, but eventually they do find their own spaces with those older characters. You're not wrong when Wonder Girl is the least used or least favorite. It's about time she had a little spotlight, and she does every once in a while. She does get the spotlight again, but I do think out of everyone there, she is the least used.
Still 7 people. That's kind of a big title group to keep all those juggled. Have any sort of interest in any of these characters on an individual basis, in a 24-page publication.
And I will say, I might have said this last time, I do think like this first 12 is a lot of setup, And it's a lot of, here's the background of these characters that you may have forgotten, or these new characters that you don't know about. The next 12 really, I mean, there's a couple misses in there, but it really sets up to the next level. I think they continue to build into something that's different than what DC was doing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm curious whether you'll think that, or whether I will think that after this reread. I'm still really excited about reading this again, so I haven't lost my interest yet on this. So far, it's kind of how I remember building up to these storylines. Some of which you don't even see right now, to more of this. We'll do a couple episodes where we're not talking about the Titans, but then we'll come back to it again.
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued enough to keep going. It's not like a matter of like, well, that was fun while it lasted, or anything like that. It just seems,
I'm out.
yeah. They've got some new stuff coming, and the trades that I've been reading aren't quite at the same rate, so I get to kind of cheat and look ahead. I think it was 8 issues in the trades, so we did 6 issues at a time, so I kind of got like trade 1 had 7 through 8, and then trade 2 had 9 through 12, but I still had like 13, 14, and 15.
Right,
and 16 in the same book.
Ooh, some Doom Patrol in there.
Yeah, so I kind of skimmed through those, and it's like, yeah, this looks like it's definitely getting up there again.
Ooh, issue 16. This is even in my head. I'm not even looking these up. Issue 16 is a good Starfire issue. Yeah. Okay, I'm back and excited. I think I want to say I'm more excited about this than I am some of the Legion stuff we did. That'll be interesting for me to review in my head.
Yeah.
If you want more Teen Titans, new Teen Titans, or if you have other ideas for us to do, please let us know. Our webpage is in This Is Why I Love Comics podcast.buzzsprout.com. You can email us, and This Is Why I Love Comics at gmail.com. Join us on the Twitter and This Is Why IL1. We're on the Facebook, and This Is Why I Love Comics podcast. Check that out. There's a schedule of books we're talking about. I think next we're talking brackets.
Yeah.
We got to get that done. We got to get the brackets done next time. Close that up. We're going to do a wonky Deadpool series called Deadpool's Secret Wars, 4 issues. We're on the TikTok. We are Why I Love Comics podcast. Thanks to producer Tony, co-hosts Matt 2.0, Kevin, Jamie, Matt 10.0, producer Katie, and Nick. We got a lot of things scheduled, planned ahead. We usually take detours as we get excited about other events and stuff, but or maybe just me. But
I had one question that was on my list that had nothing to do with anything, but it was just as we were looking at the DC United, it kind of triggered some thought in my head. It was like, there's Red Tornado, Green Lantern, the Green Llama, all these other characters. What color is actually used most in superhero naming? Blue Beetle, Blue Devil,
Black Lightning.
Yeah, I'm just like, I could Google it, but then in the back of my head, I'm like, I should be able to figure this out, without having to Google. But then,
let's eliminate. Well, there's not a lot of yellows.
Yeah, or white. So I know yellow would be kind of like the, either cowardice is associated with it.
Red. It's Red Robin.
Yep, Red Tornado.
Yeah, that's a great question.
So something to ponder. And if you're listening to it, ponder with us, and then submit some lists.
Yes, this is your task, listener. Tell us, without Googling it, what part of the spectrum do you think has the most names of superheroes or villains? I mean, whatever, comic related. Let us know what you think, and we can discuss it later. Producer Tony didn't even think of this question. I mean, come on.
Even down to like Purple Man. Wasn't there Gray Man? Wasn't that one of the Justice League?
I'm going to toss this over to Thunder Chicken. Thanks for the tunes. Check them out on Spotify. For the podcast, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Toodles. Bump, bump.
Bum,
Oh, hey,
bum,
speaking of colors, that was kind of a Green Acres theme going.
Green Acres is the place to be. Fine living is the price for me.